Coming to clean room can also be referred to as assembly room, and it can also be referred to as layup rooms. So, since we are saying clean room, it has to be ideally clean. To maintain that cleanliness, the person who is entering and working inside a clean room has to have following PPEs. The PPE should have an hood, it should have high density coverall which covers the entire portion of the body, it should have white shoes which are dedicated for the clean room, and it should also have tight sleeves around the hand. The sleeves press the wrist to avoid any leak of particles coming from personal clothes. So, just to ensure that there is no wear and tear of the cloth and that is contaminating the clean room. So, this PPE is very mandatory inside the clean room, and it is our duty to ensure that all the person who are inside the clean room are wearing and not entering without these PPEs. And the PPEs have to be used dedicatedly inside the clean room only. These should not be kept outside the clean room, and because again outside you have dust particles which might come in contact and again contaminate. So, all the PPEs and material that you use inside clean room has to be dedicatedly used only for clean rooms. Coming to the layout of clean room, there you can see you have a washing machine, basically this is through which the glass is being conveyed inside the clean room. And you also have interlayers storage, basically which is the PVB, the rolls are stored inside, and then you have the furnace, and in between the person, the entry of the person is controlled through grey room, white room and wardrobe. Basically what we are trying to convey is we all wear our clothes, and there should be a room where the PPEs are kept, and the person goes there and changes wears that PPE and then he goes inside. Basically it's just a medium before the entry of the clean room, just trying to ensure that we don't contaminate the clean room, as we have the atmosphere has a lot of dust. So, this is basically just an arrangement to ensure that you have double protection against contamination of the clean room. So, for clean room dust control, we have a standard which is basically the US Federal 209E standard that we follow. An ideal condition of a clean room we normally is ISO class 7 or class 10,000, wherein we have this meter, basically handheld 3013, which is shown on the right side. This you can keep it onto the atmosphere, and when you start it, it will start to measure the particles of size 0.5 micron, 1 micron and 5 micron. And normally we recommend to have run the meter for 20 minutes, and this meter it takes the reading for every 1 minute, or it can also take for 30 seconds, depends on what you set. Normally we keep 20-minute readings, and every 1 minute the reading is taken, and the average of all those reading, the 0.5 micron particle should not exceed 3.52 lakhs. 1 micron particle size, the particles which are greater than 1 micron should not exceed 83,200 numbers, and particles which are of size greater than 5 micron should not exceed 2930. This is standard for maintaining clean room, and this is a standard also maintained in hospitals and pharma manufacturing setup, ISO class 7 and class 10,000, and this is very significant for the quality of lamination. Coming through the conditions that are required for clean room, those are basically you should have a double door entrance. This double door entrance, as we know, is basically just we are trying to protect the clean room from contamination, and inside this double door you also have basically a fan which blows onto your body, and all the impurities that are settled onto the surface, or let us say your cloth, those get removed, and you then enter inside the clean room. Then you have over pressure in the room. Normally it is recommended to have a pressure of 15 Pascal in the clean room, so that all the dust from outside don't penetrate inside the clean room. And you have an air filtration system, as we mentioned, it is just to ensure that the clean room remains dust free. You have special adhesive door mats to remove dust from shoe soles. Basically it is ideal to have dedicated white shoes for the clean room, and those are only confined within the periphery of the clean room. those will also be subjected to some dust. It's always dust is, I mean, everywhere. So you have the adhesive doormats which is kept at the entrance of the clean room. So where you step in, the dust from the shoe soles would be transferred to the doormats, and you can, over a period of time, as and when you see the doormats are dirty, you can just remove a layer of it and you can throw it out, and those doormats comes in, let's say, 15 numbers, and you can keep removing as and when it gets dirty. So the maintenance of the temperature of the clean room should be around 18 to 22 degrees. Humidity is somewhere around 25 to 30%. It's again critical to ensure that the interlayer doesn't have absorbed too much of moisture. A limited passage, what we mean by limited passage is basically you have to restrict the entry and exit of people in and out of clean room. So only limited amount of entry and exit should be permitted. That's how you can maintain the dust control parameter. Those are required, and also the temperature and humidity will have fluctuations in it if you have repeated in and out, people moving in and out of clean room. So it's important to ensure that you don't allow or permit too many people, and you have a clear cut SOP, standard operating procedure, for people who are entering the clean room. And for visitors, there should be some form of approval letters or authorization permissions which are to be allotted. If at all they have to enter the clean room, they should not be permitted. For the clean room, as we saw, that there is a PPE which was demonstrated earlier. So it's that PPE is basically, it should be lint free, and you normally people wearing gloves and hair caps to ensure that hair or any impurity doesn't come in contact of the interlayer at the time of assembly, and I mean, again you will have defects. The tiles or special coating, basically those are for the construction of the clean room, those are required for ease of cleaning. So tiles or special coating, those are for the construction base of the clean room, those are for ease of cleaning. Coming to the basics of clean room, so we normally recommend to follow these 32 points which are basically required for the maintenance of cleanliness of the clean room, and also to ensure that your product comes out of a very high quality. So the point number 1 is basically you should have disposable suits for guests. Basically, as we mentioned, the PPEs are to be used dedicatedly inside the clean room, and for guests you should have disposable suits, so that whenever they are entering and out, it should be a one time use or something. So everyone that enter the clean room should wear the clean room suits. It is not allowed to enter without any protection. So this is again, it could be you can have a PPE again for the guests, or you can have a disposable suits which are used for one time use and throw kind of suits. Point number 2, the wardrobe area should be clean. The wardrobe cleanliness is critical, as is a grey room from where you enter the white room. Clothes are stored in this place are dirty, so again the cleanliness of wardrobe plays a very important role. As you can see, there is a picture which demonstrates how the wardrobes are stored, and we can see a very good level of 5S is demonstrated here. It's all identified and everything is kept in its own place. Coming to point number 3, white and black shoes are stored in separate cabinets. The black shoes are the safety shoes that are used in the line, and when you enter, we recommend white canvas shoes for the operation of clean room and the people who are working there. So those are basically segregated and kept, and that's important because we recommend that the shoes are used dedicatedly inside the clean room. So that's how you can ensure that happens. This action prevents transferring dirt from black shoes to the white shoes used in the clean room. You can see again a picture demonstrating how white and black shoes are segregated in different racks. Again, a very good demonstration of 5S. And these are very critical when you have to maintain the dust conditions that are required for maintaining clean room. Coming to point number 4, instructions of how to wear clothes. That should be available. You should have SOP, or let's say you can have an instruction which says how the cloth has to be weared and how the condition has to be adhered. It is not easy to correctly wear the clean room clothes, especially for new workers and guests. That is why the manual or the SOP for wearing clothes becomes mandatory. Therefore, it is therefore important to have an instruction in place to explain to them as to how to wear the clothes. So, this is a demonstration of how PPE is worn, and this is for visitors or people who are coming in and who are new to the system. Coming to point number 5, mirror at the entrance should be available. It's just basically to ensure that whether the person who just finished wearing the PPE, he has worn it properly or not. So, basically it's just a good practice, and it ensures the person can see himself in the mirror and can be satisfied that he has worn it properly, or if something is to be corrected, those can be corrected. The sticky mats on the floor at the entrances are existing. As we mentioned that the shoe soles gets dirty over a period, so it is to ensure that the dirt from the soles are not contaminating the clean room. You have sticky mats at the entry of the clean room, wherein people can step in on the mats and then enter the clean room. So, the sticky mats basically collects the dirt from the shoes and the dirt falling from the clean room clothes. So, this is how sticky mat, you can see the one on the left hand side of the picture, where the blue color ones are the sticky mats, which basically takes the dirt from the soles and the body. Coming to point number 7, sticky mats, again over a period of time it keeps collecting the dirt from the soles. It will get dirty, so it is important to have an SOP which clearly states as to at what frequency the sticky mats has to be replaced. So, only clean sticky mats with unpolluted surface will clean properly, and thus help us bring down the inclusion rate. So, it is important that we at a regular interval, based on the dirt collection of the mats and based on the frequency at which the mats get dirty, we have to make an SOP and ensure that the mats are replaced. So, pictures again demonstrates the dirt collected by the sticky mats. You can see the one on the right hand side are dirty, and as soon as you see a lot of dirt on the sticky mats, it's important that you take off the layer of it and you replace it with a new layer which is clean, which again starts collecting the dirt. So, point number 8 is there should be a cleaning schedule. Basically, it's again a part of 5S, as well as to maintain the standards of clean room. It is important that you have a cleaning schedule. So, the cleaning schedule should contain information of who, when and how room is to be cleaned. Basically, it will give the person responsibility. It also gives you the time frame or the frequency as to when the rooms will be clean, and it will also tell you a procedure, a standard operating procedure of what is to be used and how it is to be used. So, it can be combined with a record list or maybe a checklist after each cleaning, and the operator to ensure that it has happened properly and there is a proper monitoring of it. You can have a checklist in which the operator is signing. So, operator can sign it. Clean room should be cleaned regularly at a defined frequency. Maybe you can have for different parts of cleaning, you can have a different frequency. Like we see at the end of each shift, ground must be clean and bins must be emptied. At the end of each week, cranes, glass conveyors, rollers, vacuum cups must be cleaned. At the end of each month, a complete cleaning of the room must be performed, always from top to bottom, as the dust settles at the bottom. Ceiling cranes, walls, windows, conveyors and floors. So, as you see, we have 3 different frequencies defined for different, we have every shift frequency, you have week frequency and month frequency for, let us say, the bins, the conveyors and also the walls and other parts of the clean room, and the checklist which is maintained for ensuring that the cleaning has happened, and just for documentation, also for making it happen. Coming to point number 9, the cleaning instructions are prepared and available. So, it is not clear on how to clean the process line or walls with proper tools. That is why these instructions are mandatory. So, basically you have different tools for cleaning. You have mops, tissues, sticky rolls, water, etc. So, it is important that there is a procedure which tells you how those are to be used, and what are the do's and don'ts when it talk about clean room cleanliness. And then you have point number 10, which talks cleaning records are available and duly completed. This basically is we are trying to ensure that the cleanliness of the room is maintained properly. So, that we have a proper check sheet and ensure that you are following everything as per the frequency that you have defined. So, windows are clean. This is again a point which is to be ensured. On clean windows, you can normally see the particles collected inside the clean room. windows are on the points easy to control. It's equally important to maintain cleanliness on windows as walls. Walls are point number 12, walls are clean. It's important that we ensure that this is main area where air inclusions are stacked. So basically the inclusions coming from the air are again stacked onto the walls. Thus the walls must therefore be cleaned properly with sticky rolls. So we have sticky rolls which is basically applied onto the walls of the clean room, and the sticky roll, what it does is basically it catches the hair and other inclusion which are stuck onto the body. And basically we also use UV light to check the wall after cleaning, just to ensure that there are no other foreign material, and if there are any, again we use a sticky roll onto the surface and try to collect those onto the sticky roll, just to ensure that the entire body of the room as well as everything is properly maintained. You can see that some of the impurities that are there onto the walls, so those can be removed. Coming to point number 13, it's important to ensure that conveyor belts are clean. Conveyor, basically the glasses are in contact of these conveyor, and but they also create electrostatic discharges which will collect dirt. Thus conveyors must be clean. As you can see the picture of conveyor. Point number 14, no glass collect on the floor. Collect is basically you are talking about glass particles which are there on the floor. Cullet is a place where the dirt will be collected. Cullet glasses must be removed from the floor at every shift changeover. Again we are trying to ensure that repeatedly at a frequency of every shift all the cullet and impurities that are collected onto the floor are removed. Point number 15, no PVB sheets or PVB foil on the floor, and no PVB roll are unprotected. What we mean by PVB on the floor is floor can have a little bit of dust, and when PVB comes in contact of the floor, it can absorb the dust particle, and those will not be visible to the naked eye, and you do the layup and you do the further processing, and you further over a period of time it might lead to some kind of issues with regards to adhesion, and later subsequently it can also lead to delamination. And again PVB sheets got electrostatic discharges, so they will accumulate dirt. They must be discarded to the dedicated waste bins. Those PVB sheets which are basically which have accumulated dust, it's important that you don't use those and you discard it to the waste bins. You can see that most of the rolls are protected using aluminum foil. The protection is also important because you are trying to ensure that the moisture which are absorbed, since PVB is hygroscopic, the moisture levels are maintained and you do not expose it to the improper conditions. Point number 16, the floors are in good conditions and free from dust. Floor in good condition will allow easy cleaning. Contact between floors and walls are critical for cleanliness. Damaged floors might cause pollution itself. You can see picture of floors which are damaged. This will again contaminate the periphery or the clean room per se. What will happen is again you will have issues with regards to quality, and for durability point of view also the clean room has to be ideally clean. Point number 17, there should not be any oil leakage in the clean room or the clean areas. Oil can strongly affect the PVB, and thus the cleanliness is very important. Again it is form of contamination, and when PVB comes in contact of oil, the adhesion is deeply affected. Chain drives are protected to avoid pollution. Open chains and belts can release pollution which can go and come in contact of the PVB. Again it is important that all those chains and belts are protected and there is no nothing coming in contact of PVB. Point number 19, clean room doors with interlocks as well working. So basically this will prevent opening two doors at the same time. We talked about double door entry. So when the door which is inside or entering the clean room is the main door which from where you enter the clean room is open, the other door should be closed, so that you are not allowing any dust or impurity from outside of the clean room to enter. So there should be an interlock as to if one door is open, the other door does not open. That is what we are talking about, just to ensure that there is no contamination happening in the clean room. This will prevent opening two doors at the same time, protect the clean room from undesired airstream that might spread pollution. So interlocks are very important. Point number 20, the airflow and the air distribution in the clean room is good. It is important. The rule is the highest pressure in the cleanest area, the assembly, and the lower pressure in the dirt area, which is grey room and subsequently outside. So normally we maintain a positive pressure of 15 Pascal compared to the pressure reference, and this is important so that the undesired airstream from outside causing contamination doesn't enter the clean room where we are doing the assembly. Point number 21, the absolute filters are not damaged or broken. It is important that the absolute filters are clean, since they clean the ambient air. If they are broken or damaged, the system stops working and the airflow is affected, and again you will have issues. So, it is important that from time and again we keep checking whether the absolute filters are in good conditions. If they are dirty, they are cleaned, and if they are broken, they are replaced. Central vacuum cleaner system is installed, and dedicated vacuum cleaner you have. The importance of having it dedicated is when you take it outside, again it comes in contact of the ambience air, which might be polluted, which might be dusty. So, vacuum cleaning is the best method of cleaning the clean room. A good system, well maintained, will ensure good cleaning and thus good cleanliness of the clean room. You can see a person, picture which is demonstrating the cleaning of clean room using vacuum cleaners. Point number 23, tolerance for humidity, temperature and pressures are displayed. So, those are the three controls for maintaining the clean room, and those are very critical from the point of view of processing quality. And there should be some indicator which is displayed, which gives you the tolerance, and also everybody should know instantly if the standard conditions are respected or not. If they are respected, you go ahead and process. If they are not expected, you raise an alarm and stop and ensure that those are rectified before you continue. So, you can see picture which is giving you the tolerance. So, 19 degrees plus or minus 4, just an example, do not have to take it literally. But what we are trying to show is basically there is a display which gives you tolerance, as well as there is an indicator which is indicating the actuals. So, you can from the actuals and the display you can see that whether those are respected, and you can go ahead with the process. Point number 24, there is no unnecessary equipment in the clean room area. General 5S, unnecessary material will accumulate dirt that can be easily released in the cause of air streams. So, the 5S again is very important. So, you should ensure that the 1S, which is basically SAIDI, which talks about unnecessary unwanted items, segregation and being removed subsequently, those are maintained properly. Point number 25, waste bins are at the intended place for disposal. As you have a lot of waste accumulating and you are segregating, and you should have a bin where we are trying to dispose of the waste. So, bin are necessary. Design of the waste bin itself should be easy to clean. All the material that are used in within the periphery of the clean room are to be designed in such a way that their cleaning is also very easy. Point number 26, bins are at intended place for disposal. There should be dedicated place for storage of PUV trims. So, when you are doing the trimming of the PUV, there is you would always get small trims of the PUV, as the yield will never be 100%. So, those trims should have a place also to dispose of those trims, or maybe it can be either disposed of to scrap or whether you are recycling, but those are to be collected in a separate bin. Point number 27, no food items should be used inside the clean room. Food is one of the root cause of pollution or dirt in the clean room. It is not allowed to bring or eat any food inside the clean room, or you should not be even keeping any of the food items in your wardrobe. Those will end up contaminating the clean room. Point number 28, no private stuff in the clean room. Private stuff again can bring in pollution and contaminate the clean room. Point number 29, clean room hoods are duly worn. As we saw in the initial PPE drawing, hoods are basically protecting the hair. They are ensuring that the hair particles are not coming in contact of the PVB, and thus hoods well worn will protect the workers hairs from falling down to the PVB product and coming in contact of them. You can have skull caps as well. If it's the hoods are not there, you can ensure that the workers are wearing skull caps and ensuring that the hair is not falling. Point number 30, instructions of not opening suits in the clean room will be followed. Suit is mandatory to protect clean room against hair stacked to the undergarments. Opening the clean room suits will bring again a lot of pollution. So, again it's you have to ensure that the suits are fully covered and you don't open any of the no, don't give any openings for the clothes that you wear to contaminate. Point number 31, the cleaning tools are suitable for the usage of the clean room. Cleaning tools should be cleaner than the area that are cleaned up. There should be a cleaning equipment especially dedicated and designed for clean rooms. It is important that those tools are not being used outside of the clean room and they are only dedicatedly used within the periphery of clean room. You can see the tools and how they are being kept, a very good demonstration of 5S, and those are to be dedicatedly either kept in the grey room or inside the clean, I mean within the periphery, those are to be used within the periphery of clean room, that is very important. Point 32, a break of minimum 2 hours after a big cleaning which normally is recommended on a monthly basis to reduce the noise is established. After big cleaning of the clean room, a lot of pollution coming from equipment flows can fly in the air. Air flows and absolute filters will clean the clean room itself, but it will take a little bit of time. That is why we recommend a break period of 2 hours before you resume the production after any big cleaning of the clean room. You can see pictures which are demonstrating the effect of cleaning. You can see after the big cleaning, you can see a lot of dust particles which are flying around the clean room. Those will not be visible to our naked eye, but you have absolute filters and which will automatically be ensuring that those are absorbed, and over a period of time you will not have those, but then ideally you should give some time for the ambience to not have pollution and before you resume the production.